If business is hard for you, it's not because you don't know what to do, it's because you're not doing it. In other words, you already have the capacity to get to 100K a month and $1 million a month and beyond, but you just haven't found a way of consistently get there by doing the right things. You are falling for what I call the performance gap. And I'm going to show you exactly what that gap is, how to bridge it, and how to consistently outcompete your previous self every single week. You don't know who I am. I'm Castillo, founder of Selfmastered, Performance Institute for Founders. I work with entrepreneurs one-on-one to help them crush their limits and consistently optimize themselves spiritually, mentally, physically, and executive-wise to achieve their goals fast. And I'm going to tell you a story that I have seen hundreds of times, literally, because this is a universal truth in business, but this does not get discussed ever. And having seen in a business school discussing this, most courses don't provide the full picture of what peak performance entails, and I haven't seen anyone really explaining it the way I'm going to be explaining to you. So take pen and paper and let me walk you through how the performance gap actually works. So let's assume you're probably more advanced than this, but let's assume that you have no business right now and you want to get to 100K a month as fast as humanly possible, right? And then, of course, at $1 million a month. The average guru will tell you that it's all about hustling, grinding, and marketing and sales and consistently pushing. But at some point, you're going to realize that there's a deeper truth behind success. And it's never about how much marketing and sales you know and how high is your IQ or how talented you are or how much money do you have to start with. It's all about your performance. It's all about your capacity to consistently do the things you know you need to do. And at each level, there is a gap that needs to be bridged. And once you bridge it, you build the ability to move to the next level. Because those that do not take care of their performance, they end up falling for what I call the low performance cycle of doom. In essence, they may start very motivated, but they end up being doubtful or distracted when trying to do the next thing. If they're not super clear on what needs to be done and they do not believe they can do it, or they get distracted, they end up wasting time, which leads to, in this case, procrastination. So they procrastinate on the thing they know they need to do. And procrastination, what it does is that it wastes time. When you waste a lot of time, you end up having less time for doing the things you know you need to do, which leads to overwhelm. When you are overwhelmed, you make bad decisions. And bad decisions end up creating more problems. And more problems end up creating a lot of emotional resistance towards solving them. So you end up more distracted and more doubtful. And then you procrastinate more on them, you get more overwhelmed, you make bad decisions, you end up creating more problems, and that goes on and on until, you guessed it, you burn out. That is the average entrepreneur, the untrained entrepreneur way of dealing with business, which is already hard in and of itself. So what is the alternative? What is the thing that I believe you should be focused on if you truly want to win in business? Well, is of course training your ability to bridge the performance gap. In other words, building up your performance capacity, becoming the right person to achieve the goals you want to achieve. And the way to bridge this gap is by training yourself across 4 specific dimensions of performance. I've never seen this discussed this way ever, so pay attention to this. Peak performance in business has 4 sides to it. You have spiritual performance, you have mental performance, you have physical performance, and you have executive performance. Spiritual performance is all about 2 things. It's all about purpose and motivation. So when your spiritual performance is truly dialed in, You are very clear on why you want to build the business and why it's absolutely fundamental that you take it to the next level. There are no doubts in your mind about the need to push. At some point, most people start having doubts about whether they should continue or not dealing with the shit that running a business entails. And some of them, very legitimately, stop pushing because they run out of meaning. They run out of spiritual energy. They don't care anymore about the business, so they don't continue, and that's okay. So dialing your spiritual performance is crucial, as I said, because without a strong engine, without having fuel in your tank, you are not going to deal with the hardships of building a business. So spiritual performance is step number one. Then you have mental performance. Mental performance is about self-belief and about discipline. When your mental performance is on point, you trust your ability to figure things out. Even if you haven't done them before, even if you have no idea of how to figure it out, you know you can figure it out. That is called self-efficacy or self-belief. And when you have high mental performance, you can stay disciplined, consistent, and at it for as long as you need in order to get the results you want, right? So mental performance is about dialed in, your ability to consistently get things done. Do not doubt yourself or get distracted when doing it. At the highest levels of business, everybody is intelligent, has high IQ, has money, has connections. Differentiating results is all about mental performance, is how well you manage your mind and how much of a friend that mind is. Because for untrained founders, their mind is the worst enemy. They're consistently doubting themselves. They're consistently distracted. They're falling for the easy work instead of the important work because they don't have the mental capacity to deal with the resistance that comes from doing the work. That's not what we want. We want to consistently do the right things because we trust ourselves and we have discipline in our mind and strength in your mind to actually get it done. So that is a step number two. Step number three is physical performance. Is all about energy and focus. So energy is about dialed in the fundamentals in your nervous system. So your sleep, your nutrition, your exercise, but also your rest and recovery protocols throughout the day. So you can have more energy that then you can later deploy in a concentrated manner for at least 90 minutes every time, which is where focus comes into play. Untrained founders typically get distracted every 6 minutes. So they never really end up building nothing meaningful because their brain is not ready, their nervous system is not primed to sustain high energy for a long time. So physical performance is the next step, is dialed in your nervous system, so your high energy and high focus. And if you're already spiritually, mentally, and physically primed, you're already way above the average entrepreneur who is typically untrained in performance and typically dealing with a lot of shit internal that makes the process unnecessarily difficult. But then there's one more level, which is executive performance, which is all about leverage and systems. This is crucial because if you are extremely motivated to get to the next level spiritually, if you believe you can do it and you're disciplined enough to push through mental performance, if you're high energy, you're able to sustain focus for 12 hours every day, you can still go wrong if you choose the wrong goals and you do everything yourself and you do not find leverage that multiplies your efforts. So the last level is executive performance, is consistently finding the 20% of tasks that have the biggest results and focus on them relentlessly. And then create systems so that the best results are replicable. You don't need to reinvent the wheel every day. You already know what works and you consistently do it. That is a measure of executive performance. And this is what differentiates hustlers from winners. It's never about hard work, it's about leverage. See, we all have 24 hours in the day, but the results are widely different for some people, right? Just folks like Musk that run 4 or 5 companies at the same time with the same hours in the day. How does he do it? Through leverage and systems. So this is the core components of peak performance in business. This is the core differentiator. It's not about sales, marketing, or whatever technical skills you know. which is important in and of itself. That's how you get started. But the ultimate level is all about dialed in spiritually, mentally, physically, and executives at each level, right? So you're at 0K a month and you get to, let's say, 20K a month. I've seen that so many times. Where at least I've seen a few dozen people stuck here at 20K a month. Pushing, running, and not moving forward. And there's always because they haven't fully mastered leverage and systems. So they're wasting a lot of their time. They are not clear spiritually on what they should be pushing. So they are falling for distractions and doing all sorts of shits that shouldn't be done at all. Or they lack the discipline or the energy. As soon as we dial that in for that level, boom, they shoot up to 50K and then to 70K and then to 80K. And understand that this is something that must be figured out every step of the way, right? So you have to sell yourself on your why, on your purpose, and be intrinsically motivated at every level. You need self-belief and discipline at every level. You need to be high energy and be able to deal with stresses and find focus at every level. And we have to be consistently deploying leverage and systems at every level. And I know this because we work with people that are 6 to 8 figures on average, right? And we see the same patterns. Someone at the 8 figures has a business of 30 to 50 people, let's say, but they're consistently dealing with the same issues. They're not finding sources of leverage, and we help them do that. They're not setting the right systems, or they're not motivated, or they do not believe they can get to 20 million, or they're just permanently exhausted with all their habits out of whack, and they don't know how to show up with peak energy every day. So if you really want to win and do so fast, right? The easy way, the fun way, we're happy to hustle and grind, but rather work less hours with better input and way better performance. Train yourself to operate like an elite founder. You need to learn this. You can learn this the hard way by going through business in 10 to 15 years, or you can work with us for 6 weeks and learn all of this and how to consistently push yourself. If you want to help, book a call below. We'll make sure that this is the thing that makes a difference in your business career. A question that some people ask me is, but why some people, for whatever reason, get to 100K a month very quickly? Let's say, for instance, I remember a case study 2 years ago, a guy named Carlos came to me after spending $40,000 in sales and marketing courses in order to become an entrepreneur. His technical skills were through the roof. They were very, very good in sales and marketing, so good that he was working for a very famous marketing group. And he came to me and said, dude, I just love your stuff, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything with it because my problem is actually, getting things done. I know what I need to do, but I just don't do it. I say, oh, don't worry, dude, don't worry, we'll figure it out. This guy got to 100K a month in 7 months. Why? Because his performance capacity was shit, but his technical capacity was brilliant. So if you are extremely good, let's assume this is technical skills, and this is performance, right? Let's say, so this is marketing, sales, whatever, operations, right? This is technical skills. Performance skills are, as I said, focus, discipline, motivation, all that stuff. My man Carlos, he was, and still is, absolute elite at technical skills. He spent $40,000 to learn it, remember? I mean, courses, he never went to college. He just bought courses from gurus, and the guy was really, really good. So, but whatever, let's assume this is a 10, right? So imagine George here. I studied architecture, master architecture, so my drawing skills are not awful. They're not brilliant either, but still. Yeah, so listen, this is what was going on. So there's this guy that came to me and said, I just know everything there is to know about sales and marketing, but I never get anything done with it because I'm permanently exhausted. I have a lot of bad habits. As soon as the day finishes, I'm exhausted. I end up distracted, and I really don't really feel I can pull it off anymore. So how do you think you can help me? I said, dude, this is exactly the right place. You've come to the right place. So in essence, he was a 10 out of 10 in technical skills. He was sales and marketing, super good. So his overall results are technical plus performance, right? His results were like, 10 units of results because his performance was just a 1. There was not anything else that he needed to get to 100K a month in the technical side of things. He already knew copywriting. He knew how to do a cold outreach. He knew how to lead generation, lead nurturing. He was also somewhat good on sales call. So the guy knew everything there was to know to get to 100K a month. He was maxed out on the technical side. Absolutely maxed out. But he couldn't focus. He was not disciplined. He had a lot of bad habits. He was exhausted every single day. And he was consistently comparing himself versus others. So he didn't have the results the others wanted. So he felt miserable about it. All of those things hurt his results. As soon as we took him, not even to 10 out of 10 in performance in 7 months, right? Let's say we took him to 7 in performance, his results literally multiplied by 7 in about, 7 months. So he was able to capture way more of his potential and achieve way more results because he was able to consistently show up, focused, disciplined, motivated, And you don't get this through reading books, watching YouTube videos, downloading apps you won't use, and doing all sorts of manifestation protocols and bullshit. You get these results by consistently priming yourself with the right skills to get the outcomes you deserve and want, right? This is the performance gap that you must master. This is the difference. Elon Musk, Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos, all of those guys are not at the pinnacle of business because they're crazy smart, although they are, but because they have consistently performed at their peak for decades. They have compounded performance skills to the level that they can get things done without getting distracted, without getting doubtful, without wasting time, without doing the things they don't need to do, without falling for the trap that they need to learn more marketing and sales to build their business. No, it's all about doing what you know you have to do. So whatever your current level, maybe you're at 10K, 20K, 30K, 100K, $1 million a month, it doesn't matter. The gap is always performance. Is never marketing or sales. Is finding the right thing to do, leverage, building systems, and being high energy to consistently execute them, being disciplined and believing in yourself to avoid getting doubtful or distracted, and eventually really having that very intense purpose that allows you to push until successful. So I hope this was useful. This is the killer thing. This is the thing you need to learn in order to win. And you can learn it in 15 years or you can learn it in 6 weeks with us, your choice. But I recommend that you stop focusing so much on marketing and sales. If you already have bought a course, whatever course you already know of, the difference is always performance. It's always how you show up. If you want to dive deeper into how this works, click the link below here and see the next video. See you there.